The morning sun rose over the small colony on Planet 7. It was a beautiful world with green forests and blue rivers. The humans who lived there had built their homes near the water. Children played in the fields while their parents worked in the farms and factories. Captain stood on the roof of the main building. She watched the children run and laugh. She smiled. This colony was her home now. She had left Earth 5 years ago to help build this place. Now it had 3,000 people living happy lives. "Captain, the weather looks good today," said Minyu, her second in command. He was a tall man with kind eyes. "Yes, it does," said. "The crops will grow well this season." She did not know that far above the planet, something terrible was coming. In the darkness of space, 12 massive ships moved towards 7. They belonged to the Empire. There were tall creatures with skin and 4 arms. They had conquered many worlds. They believed they were the strongest species in the galaxy. Admiral stood on the bridge of his flagship. He looked at the small blue planet on his screen. His thin lips curved into a smile. "What do we know about these creatures?" he asked. His science officer, a smaller named, pulled up the information. "They call themselves humans, Admiral. They come from a planet called Earth. Our scans show they have no natural weapons. No claws, no fangs, no armor. They are soft and weak." Laughed, it was a cold sound. "And they have settled on a planet rich with minerals. How foolish of them." "Should we attempt communication first?" Admiral asked. "Why would we waste time talking to prey?" said. "Begin the attack. Kill anyone who resists. The rest will make good slaves." The 12 ships moved into position above the colony. On the ground was walking toward the school when her communicator beeped. It was the young officer who watched the sky. "Captain, ships. 12 large ships just appeared above us." Felt her heart go cold. "What kind of ships?" "Unknown design. They are not human. Captain, they are charging weapons." Did not hesitate. She ran toward the emergency bell and pulled it hard. The loud sound filled the air. People stopped what they were doing and looked up. "Everyone to the shelters," screamed. "This is not a drill. Move now." The colonists had practiced this many times. Parents grabbed their children. Workers left their tools. Everyone ran toward the underground shelters that had been built for emergencies. The first blast hit the power station. The explosion was massive. Fire and smoke rose into the sky, was thrown to the ground by the force. Her ears rang. She could barely see through the dust. "Minyu," she called out. "Minyu, where are you?" "Here, Captain." Minyu appeared beside her. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his head. "They destroyed the power station. Communications are down." More blasts hit the colony. Buildings exploded. The hospital collapsed. Heard people screaming. She saw a mother running with a baby in her arms. A blast hit nearby and they both fell. Ran to them. The mother was dead, but the baby was still crying. Picked up the child and kept running toward the shelter. "Get everyone underground," she ordered. "Now." The ships continued their attack for 10 minutes. When they stopped, half the colony was destroyed. Smoke covered everything. The beautiful green fields were now black and burned. Admiral watched from his ship with satisfaction. "Send down the ground troops. Collect the survivors." 200 soldiers landed on the surface. They wore heavy armor and carried energy weapons. They expected to find scared, broken creatures hiding in the ruins. They did not expect what happened next. Had gathered 12 other colonists in the main shelter. They were the ones with military training. Some had been soldiers on Earth. Others had been police officers. They had only a few weapons, mostly old rifles and pistols. "They will come for us," said. "They will expect us to surrender." "What do we do, Captain?" asked a former Marine. Her hands were burned, but she held her rifle steady. "We fight," said. "We make them pay for every step they take." "There are 200 of them," Minyu said. "We have 12 people." Looked at each person in the room. I know the numbers, but I also know what humans can do when we protect our own. Those things up there killed our friends. They killed our families. They think we are weak. Let us teach them how wrong they are. The soldiers moved through the ruins. They found the entrance to the shelter. Commander Vex, the leader of the ground force, smiled. "Break down the door," he ordered. "Bring me the survivors." Two soldiers moved forward with a heavy weapon. Before they could fire, a bullet hit one of them in the neck, right in the small gap between helmet and armor. He fell dead. The soldiers scattered in confusion. Another shot rang out. Another soldier fell. "They are fighting back." Commander Vex could not believe it. "Impossible. They have no claws, no natural weapons." "They have projectile weapons, Commander," one of his officers said. "Primitive but effective." "Kill them all," Vex ordered. "No slaves, just kill them." The battle lasted 3 hours. They had better weapons and better armor, but the humans had something else. They had a fire inside them that would not go out. Killed 7 before a blast took her arm. She kept fighting with one hand until she passed out from blood loss. Minyu used explosives to collapse a tunnel on a group of soldiers. The young Sky Watcher shot the commander himself through the eye. When it was over, all 200 soldiers were dead. Only 4 humans survived, Minyu and 2 others. They were all badly wounded. Admiral watched the reports come in. His forearms trembled with something he had not felt in a long time: fear. 200 soldiers, he said quietly, killed by 12 creatures with primitive weapons. "Admiral, should we send more troops?" asked. "No," his voice was hard now. "Burn the planet, burn it all, leave nothing alive." The ships charged their main weapons, looked up at the sky from the ruins. She knew what was coming. She held Minyu's hand. "Did we send the distress signal?" she asked. "Yes," Minyu said. "Before the power station was destroyed, the signal went out." "Then it was not for nothing," said. "Earth will know, Earth will remember." The ships fired. The blasts were powerful enough to destroy cities. They turned the colony into a crater of fire and glass. Admiral watched until nothing was left. "Good," he said. "Let that be a lesson. No species defies the Empire." He ordered his fleet to leave. He wanted to forget this day. He wanted to forget the 12 weak creatures who had killed 200 of his best soldiers. But in the darkness of space, a signal was traveling. It moved at the speed of light toward a distant yellow star, toward a small blue planet called Earth. The signal carried voices. It carried the screams of children. It carried the sound of explosions. And it carried the last words of Captain, spoken just before the final blast. "This is Captain of the 7 Colony. We are under attack by an unknown alien force. They gave no warning. They showed no mercy. 3,000 people lived here. Good people, families, children, they killed them all. If anyone hears this, please remember us. Please remember what they did, and please make them pay." The signal reached Earth 3 days later. It was received by the United Earth Defense Council. It was played in the Great Hall where the leaders of all nations gathered. They listened in silence. Some cried. Some shook with anger. Admiral of the Earth Fleet stood before them. He was an old soldier with hair and a face full of scars. He had fought in many wars on Earth. He had hoped those days were behind him. "You have heard the message," he said. "You know what happened. 3,000 of our people murdered. A world we built destroyed. The question now is simple. What do we do?" The room was quiet for a moment. Then a young woman stood up. Her name was. She was a junior officer, barely 25 years old. She had no right to speak in this council, but she spoke anyway. "They think we are weak," said. Her voice was steady. "They think because we have no claws, because we have soft skin, that we are prey. They do not know us. They do not know what we have survived. Ice ages, plagues, world wars. We have fought each other for thousands of years and we are still here. Now, for the first time, we have a reason to stop fighting each other and fight together." She looked at Admiral. "They declared war on us. They just do not know it yet." The council voted that day. The vote was unanimous. For the first time in human history, all nations agreed on one thing. War. Admiral began gathering the fleet. Ships from every nation joined together. Soldiers volunteered by the millions. Scientists worked day and night to improve weapons. The Empire had no idea what was coming. They had forgotten about the small colony they had destroyed. They had moved on to other conquests. They did not understand. Humans never forget. Humans never forgive. And when you hurt their families, humans become the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. In his office on Earth, Admiral looked at a picture of Captain. She had been his student once many years ago. He had taught her everything he knew. Now she was gone. "I promise you," he said quietly, "they will learn, they will all learn." Outside his window, the Earth fleet was gathering. Hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, all of them ready to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. The humans were coming. And they were angry. Admiral stood on the bridge of the flagship Earth's Fury. Around him, 300 human warships waited in formation. They had traveled for 2 weeks through the darkness of space. Now they had arrived at the edge of territory. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander. She had been promoted after her speech to the Council. Now she served as second in command. "Good," said. He looked at the star map on the screen. "Their nearest military station is on the planet, 5 battleships, 10,000 soldiers. That is our first target." "Sir, our scouts report they have no idea we are coming," another officer said. Nodded. "They think we are weak. They think we will hide on our little planet and cry. Let us show them what humans do when someone hurts our family." The fleet moved forward. On the planet, Commander was enjoying his evening meal. He was a large with dark skin and many battle scars. He had conquered 12 worlds in his career. He feared nothing. His communicator beeped. He answered it with annoyance. "What is it?" "Commander, our sensors have detected ships approaching. Unknown design." "How many ships?" There was a pause. 300, Commander." Dropped his food. 300 from where? "We believe they are from the species we attacked last month, the humans." Laughed. "The soft creatures, the ones with no claws, they dare to attack us." "It appears so, Commander." "This will be easy," said. "Prepare our ships. We will destroy them quickly and then I will finish my dinner." He did not understand. He could not understand. They had never met a species like humans before. The battle began at sunset. The human ships came out of the darkness like wolves hunting in the night. They fired first. Their energy weapons lit up the sky. Several human ships exploded. But the humans did not stop. They did not slow down. They flew directly into the enemy fire. "What are they doing?" shouted. "They should retreat. They are taking too much damage." "Commander, they are not retreating. They are accelerating." The human ships reached the formation and began to fight at close range. Weapons were designed for long-distance combat. Up close, the human ships were faster and more flexible. Commander led the first attack wing. Her small fighter ship danced between the larger battleships. She fired her missiles at their engines, their weapons, their communication arrays. "Hit them where it hurts," she told her pilots. "Make them blind, make them scared." A ship turned its guns toward her. She did not run. She flew straight at it, firing everything she had. At the last moment she turned sharply. The ship exploded behind her. "One down," she said, 4 to go. On the ground, Admiral sent his soldiers to attack the military base. 10,000 soldiers waited for them. The humans had only 5,000. The landing ships touched down in the darkness. Human soldiers poured out, running toward the enemy positions. They wore light armor and carried rifles. They laughed at them. "Look at them," one officer said. "So small, so weak, they will die quickly." The first wave of humans hit the line, and they did not stop. A human soldier named was shot in the leg. He fell. Any other species would have stayed down, got back up. He kept running, he kept fighting. He killed 3 soldiers before a second shot hit him in the shoulder. He fell again, and again he got back up. The soldiers watched with growing fear. They had never seen anything like this. "Why do they not die?" one soldier screamed. "Why do they keep coming?" A commander pulled up information about humans on his device. What he read made his blood go cold. "Their bodies," he said, his voice shaking. "Their bodies can continue to function even with severe damage. They have something called adrenaline. It blocks pain. It gives them extra strength. They can keep fighting long after they should be dead." "That is not possible," another officer said. "Look at them," the commander shouted. "It is happening right in front of us." The battle continued through the night. They had better weapons, better armor, more soldiers. But the humans had something else. They had a will that would not break. Every time a human fell, another one took their place. Every time the thought they had won a position, the humans would attack again, and again, and again. By morning, the 5 battleships were destroyed. 2 had been rammed by human ships whose pilots knew they were going to die but did not care. They wanted to take as many with them as possible. On the ground, 6,000 soldiers were dead. The human losses were heavy too. 2,000 soldiers gave their lives, but the military base fell. Commander stood in the ruins of his command center. His 4 arms hung loose at his sides. Around him, human soldiers pointed their weapons at his face. Admiral walked through the smoke and fire. He stopped in front of. The 2 commanders looked at each other. "You are commander," said. His voice was calm. "I am," said. He tried to sound proud, but his voice trembled. "1 month ago, your empire attacked a human colony. 7. Do you know of it?" "Thought a small colony. I heard something about it. A minor operation." "A minor operation," repeated. "You killed 3,000 people. Men, women, children. You burned them alive. You gave them no warning. You showed no mercy." "They were weak," said. "They were prey." Moved closer. His eyes were hard as stone. 12 of those weak people killed 200 of your soldiers, 12 against 200, and they won. His face changed. He remembered now. The reports had disturbed him at the time. He had tried to forget them. "What do you want?" asked. "I want you to deliver a message to your emperor," said. "Tell him what you saw today. Tell him how we fight. Tell him what happens when someone kills our people." "And if I refuse?" Smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Then I will send the message myself. I will write it in the ashes of your worlds." Was released. He flew back to the capital in a small shuttle. His mind was filled with the images of battle. Humans who would not die. Ships that flew into certain death without hesitation. Soldiers who kept fighting with wounds that would kill any instantly. He had called them weak. He had called them prey. He had been so wrong. The emperor of the empire was named the Mighty. He had ruled for 50 years. He had conquered half the galaxy. No species had ever challenged him successfully. When delivered his message, laughed. "You lost to them. You lost to creatures with no natural weapons. My emperor, you do not understand. They are not like other species. They do not know when to stop. They do not know when to surrender. They feel pain, but they ignore it. They see death coming and they run toward it." "You are a coward," said. "I will send a larger fleet. We will crush them." "My emperor, please listen to me. I have fought many species. I have conquered many worlds. I know how battles work. These humans, they are different. There is something wrong with them, something broken. They do not value their own lives the way other species do." Waved his hand. "Enough, I have heard enough. Leave my sight. I will handle this myself." Bowed and left. But he knew. He knew in his heart that was making a terrible mistake. Back on Earth, Admiral received reports from the battle. 2,000 dead, many more wounded, but they had won. The first victory against the Empire. Came to his office that night. She looked tired. Her uniform was torn. She had a bandage on her arm. "We won, sir," she said, "but the cost was high." "War always has a high cost," said. "That is why we must end this quickly. We cannot let it drag on for years." "What is our next move?" Pointed at the star map. "They have a supply station here, 3 weeks away. Without supplies, their military cannot function. We will destroy it. And then we keep going. We hit them again and again. We give them no time to rest, no time to plan. We show them that attacking humanity was the worst mistake they ever made." Nodded. "The soldiers are ready, sir. They want revenge for 7. They want justice for the families that were lost." "Then let us give them what they want." The fleet began to move again. Word spread across the galaxy. The humans were fighting back. The weak creatures with no claws, no fangs, no natural weapons were defeating the mighty empire. Other species watched with amazement, some with hope. They had bullied them for centuries. Maybe, just maybe, someone had finally found a way to stop them. On a small trading station at the edge of neutral space, a group of alien merchants talked about the news. "Have you heard? The humans destroyed a military base." "Impossible, they are too strong." "I am telling you, it happened. 300 human ships against 5 battleships. The humans won." "But how? Humans have no special abilities. They are one of the weakest species in the known galaxy." An old merchant spoke up. He had traveled far and seen many things. "Perhaps that is why. They know they are weak. They know they cannot win by being stronger, so they win by being crazier." "What do you mean?" "I mean they do things no sane species would do. They fly their ships into enemy vessels on purpose. They keep fighting after receiving fatal wounds. They attack forces much larger than their own. Any other species would calculate the odds and surrender. Humans do not calculate. They just fight." The merchants were quiet for a moment. Then one of them laughed nervously. "Remind me to never make a human angry." Everyone agreed. Far away, Admiral looked at the stars from his window. Somewhere out there, Captain had died protecting her people. Somewhere out there, 3,000 colonists had been murdered for no reason. He thought about the message had sent, her final words, "Please make them pay." "We will," he whispered. "We will make them pay for every life they took. We will teach them that humans are not prey. We are not weak. We are the most dangerous species in this galaxy, and they just woke us up." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. The hunt continued. The Empire did not know it yet, but their days of conquest were over. They had made an enemy they could not defeat. Not because humans were stronger, not because humans were smarter, but because humans were willing to do whatever it took to protect their own. Even if it meant dying. Even if it meant becoming the monsters their enemies feared. The humans were coming, and they would not stop until justice was done. Emperor sat in his throne room. Around him stood his most trusted advisors and generals. The room was dark. The mood was darker. "Explain this to me again," said. His voice was low and dangerous. "How did we lose 3 more battles?" General stepped forward. He was the most experienced military commander in the Empire. He had won 100 wars. Now he looked like a broken creature. "The humans are unlike anything we have encountered, my emperor. They attacked our supply station we had 8 battleships. They had only 4. By all logic, we should have won easily. And yet we lost." "Yes, my emperor. They used tactics we have never seen. When their ships were damaged beyond repair, they did not retreat. They flew their dying ships directly into our vessels. They sacrificed themselves to take us down with them." Another general spoke up. "At the Battle of we captured several human soldiers. We tried to interrogate them. They refused to speak. We used pain. They still refused. One of them laughed at us while we tortured him. He laughed. Slammed his 4 fists on the arms of his throne. What kind of creatures are these? What madness possesses them?" "My Emperor, I have ordered our scientists to study the humans in detail," said the chief science officer. "What they have discovered is disturbing." "Tell me." Activated a display screen. Images appeared. Human anatomy, human history, human behavior. Humans evolved on a planet called Earth. It is a dangerous world. Extreme temperatures, deadly predators, natural disasters. The humans should have gone extinct many times, but they survived. How asked? Through stubbornness, my Emperor, pure, irrational stubbornness. They adapted. They learned. They refused to die. They developed something they call spite. It is an emotion that drives them to continue fighting even when there is no logical reason to do so. That is foolish. Perhaps, but it is also effective. Their bodies produce chemicals called adrenaline and endorphins when they are in danger. These chemicals allow them to ignore pain and continue functioning. A human can lose a limb and keep fighting. They can be shot multiple times and still attack their enemies. The generals shifted uncomfortably. They had seen this happen. They had not understood it. Continued. But their biology is only part of the problem. Their history is worse. New images appeared on the screen. Wars. Battlefields covered with dead bodies, burning cities, explosions that looked like small suns. Humans have been at war with each other since they first existed. They have developed thousands of different ways to kill. They have used weapons on each other that could destroy entire planets. They called them nuclear weapons. They invented them and then they used them, on their own kind. The room was silent, even looked disturbed. They killed their own people with such weapons. Yes, my Emperor. They killed hundreds of thousands of their own species in an instant, and then they built more of these weapons, not because they needed to, but because they wanted to be ready in case they needed to do it again. General spoke quietly. We thought they were weak because they have no natural weapons. We were wrong. They do not need natural weapons. They build better ones. They build weapons designed to cause maximum damage, maximum pain, maximum death. Nodded, there is more. Humans have a concept they call revenge. When someone hurts them or their family, they do not forget. They do not forgive. They spend years, decades, even generations planning ways to make their enemies suffer. We attacked one small colony, said slowly. We killed 3,000 humans. Yes, my Emperor. And now the entire species wants revenge. Not just the soldiers, not just the families of the dead, all of them. Every human on every world has heard about 7. Every human wants to destroy us. Stood up from his throne. He walked to the window and looked out at his capital city. Millions have lived there. They trusted him to protect them. How many humans are there? He asked. Approximately 12 billion on Earth. Another 3 billion spread across their colonies. 15 billion. We have 50 billion across our empire. Yes, my Emperor, but numbers do not matter against humans. They fight differently. They think differently. They are willing to sacrifice everything to win. Are we? Did not answer. He knew the truth. They had grown soft over the centuries. They had conquered weak species and easy worlds. They had forgotten what it meant to fight against an enemy that would not quit. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the human fleet continued its campaign. Admiral had divided his forces into smaller groups. Each group attacked different targets. They could not predict where the next strike would come. Lieutenant led one of these groups. She had 20 ships under her command. Her mission was to destroy communication stations. Without communications, they could not coordinate their defense. Target ahead, her pilot announced. Communication station, defended by 2 patrol ships. Only 2, smiled. This will be quick. Her ships attacked from multiple directions at once. The patrol ships tried to respond, but they were overwhelmed. Within minutes, both were destroyed. Land the assault teams, ordered. I want that station offline. Human soldiers stormed the station. The technicians inside tried to fight, but they were not soldiers. They fell quickly. A human soldier named Sara led her team through the corridors. She was small, even for a human, but she moved like water, flowing around obstacles, striking before her enemies could react. "Clear left," she called. "Clear right," another soldier responded. They reached the main control room. The head technician, unnamed, stood in front of the main console. He held an energy pistol in his shaking hands. "Stay back," he shouted. "I will destroy the system before I let you take it." Sara lowered her weapon. "We do not want to take it, we want to destroy it ourselves. Go ahead." Hesitated. This was not what he expected. "You want me to destroy it?" "Yes, but before you do, I want you to send one final message." "What message?" Sora's eyes were cold. "Tell your people what is coming. Tell them that for every human life they took at 7, we will take 1,000 lives. Tell them this is just the beginning." His hands trembled. He had heard the stories. He had heard about the battles that were losing. He had heard about humans who would not die. "Why?" he asked. "Why do you hate us so much? We only destroyed one small colony." "Only one colony," Sara repeated. Her voice was like ice. 3,000 people, families, children. You burned them alive because you thought they were weak. You thought we were prey." She stepped closer. "We are not prey, we are predators. You just forgot to check our teeth." Sent the message. Then he destroyed the console. Sara let him live. He would spread fear better than any dead body. Back on the message was received. It spread through the population like a disease. People began to panic. For the first time in centuries, the new fear. Emperor called an emergency meeting of his council. "We must end this war," General said. "We cannot win against these creatures. They are too dangerous." "You suggest we surrender?" The voice was sharp. "I suggest we negotiate. Perhaps we can offer them something, resources, territory, something to make them stop." "They do not want resources," said. "I have studied their messages. I have analyzed their behavior. They want one thing only, justice. They want us to pay for what we did." "Then what do we offer them?" The room was silent. No one had an answer. Far away, on a small moon near neutral space, Admiral met with representatives from other alien species. They were not enemies of humanity. They had come to watch, to learn, to understand. The ambassador from the species, a peaceful race of merchants, spoke first. "Admiral, we are amazed by your victories. They have been our enemies for generations. We never thought anyone could defeat them." "We have not defeated them yet," said. "The war is not over." "But you are winning. How? You have fewer ships, fewer soldiers. They have conquered 100 worlds. What is your secret?" Thought for a moment before answering. "We do not have a secret. We are just very, very angry." "Angry?" The ambassador seemed confused. "Anger is an emotion. Emotions are irrational. War should be calculated, logical." "Perhaps that is why other species fail against the. You calculate. You count ships and soldiers and resources. When the numbers are against you, you surrender." "What do humans do?" "We do not calculate, we just fight. We fight because we must. We fight because our people were murdered. We fight because giving up is not something we know how to do." The ambassador was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "They called you the weakest species in the galaxy." Smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "They measured strength the wrong way. They looked at our bodies. They saw no claws, no armor, no natural weapons. They thought that meant we were weak." "What did they miss?" Pointed at his chest. "They missed what is in here, our hearts, our will, our refusal to accept defeat. You can destroy our bodies. You can kill us by the millions, but you cannot break our spirit. And as long as one human lives, as long as one human remembers what was done to us, we will never stop fighting." The ambassador nodded slowly. "I think I understand now. They did not attack a weak species. They attacked a sleeping predator, and now the predator is awake." Yes, said, and the predator is hungry. That knight sent a message to his fleet. It was broadcast on all channels, so they would hear it too. This is Admiral of the United Earth Defense Force. To my soldiers I say this, you have made me proud. You have shown the galaxy what humans can do. You have proven that we are not victims. We are fighters, and we will keep fighting until justice is done. He paused. His next words were for the enemy. To the Empire I say this, you had a choice. You could have left us alone. You could have passed by our little colony and continued on your way. Instead, you chose to attack. You chose to murder. You chose to burn innocent people alive. His voice grew harder. Congratulations. You have just declared war on the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and now you will learn why every other predator on our planet went extinct while we survived. Not because we were stronger, not because we were bigger, but because when something threatens us, we do not stop until the threat is gone. Forever. The message ended. Across the galaxy, soldiers heard it. Many of them began to understand what Commander had tried to tell the Emperor. This was not a war they could win. But Emperor refused to accept this. He had built an empire. He had conquered half the galaxy. He would not bow to soft creatures from a small blue planet. Send everything, he ordered. Every ship, every soldier. We will crush them with numbers. The fleet began to gather. The largest fleet in their history. 5,000 ships, 10 million soldiers. They would meet the humans and end this war once and for all. But deep in his hearts, even wondered if it would be enough. The humans had already taught them one lesson. Perhaps more lessons were coming. Lessons that they would never forget. The fleet gathered at the edge of their territory. 5,000 ships, 10 million soldiers. It was the largest military force in the history of their empire. Emperor himself came to watch. With this force we will destroy the humans completely, declared. Their little fleet cannot stand against us. This war will end today. His generals agreed. The numbers were clear. The humans had fewer than 400 ships left. They had lost many in the fighting. How could they possibly win against 5,000? But the humans did not plan to fight this battle the way they expected. Admiral received the intelligence reports. He read them carefully. Then he smiled. They are gathering their entire fleet in one place, he said. They think we will meet them for a final battle. Will we? Asked Lieutenant. No, we will let them sit there and wait. Meanwhile, we will take away everything they need to survive. Pointed at the star map. Red dots showed supply lines. Green dots showed food production centers. Blue dots showed fuel stations. The fleet is large. It needs constant supplies. Food for 10 million soldiers. Fuel for 5,000 ships. Without these supplies, their fleet cannot function. You want to starve them, said. I want to make them choose. They can keep their fleet together and watch their people suffer. Or they can spread out to defend everything, and we will destroy them piece by piece. The human fleet split into dozens of small groups. Each group had a specific target. They moved like wolves hunting, striking fast and disappearing before they could respond. Lieutenant led the most dangerous mission. Her target was the main fuel production facility on the planet. It was heavily defended. Success would cripple the fleet. She had 12 ships and 200 soldiers, against a facility defended by thousands. How do we do this? Asked one of her pilots. We cannot attack directly, they will destroy us. We do not attack directly, said. We use their own weakness against them. She explained the plan. They expected a frontal assault. They had positioned their defenses to stop such an attack. They did not expect what the humans would actually do. 3 human ships approached the facility openly. They were immediately detected. Incoming ships, the commander announced. Only 3, this is insulting, destroy them. The defense guns fired. The 3 ships exploded easily. They laughed. Is that all the humans have? Pathetic. But while they were focused on the three ships and the rest of her force approached from the other side of the planet, they flew low, hiding in the canyons and valleys. Their ships were painted black. In the darkness of the planet's night side, they were invisible. They reached the facility's undefended rear. Soldiers dropped from the ships like shadows. "Move fast," ordered. "Plant the explosives. We have 10 minutes before they realize we are here." The soldiers split into teams. Each team had a specific target: fuel tanks, control systems, power generators. They moved through the facility like ghosts, avoiding patrols, eliminating guards silently. Soldier Sara led one of the teams. Her target was the main control room. She and her 5 soldiers crawled through ventilation shafts, dropped into corridors, and killed anyone who saw them. They reached the control room door. Inside, a dozen technicians monitored the facility. "Grenades," Sara whispered. 2 grenades rolled into the room. The explosions were loud. Smoke filled the air. Sara and her team rushed in, firing at anything that moved. When the smoke cleared, the control room was theirs. "Explosives planted," Sara reported, "ready for detonation." Similar reports came from all teams. Every target was ready. The entire facility was rigged to explode. "All teams evacuate now," ordered. "You have 3 minutes." The soldiers ran back to their ships. Some were spotted. Fighting broke out. 2 soldiers were killed covering the retreat, but the rest made it. The ships lifted off and flew away at maximum speed. Behind them, the facility exploded. Not just one explosion, a chain reaction. Fuel tanks went up one after another. The night sky turned orange and red. The blast was visible from orbit. When it was over, they had lost their main fuel production. Without it, their fleet would run out of power within weeks. Similar attacks happened across the Empire. Human strike teams destroyed food warehouses, fuel depots, communication relays, and supply ships. They attacked and disappeared. They could not catch them. Emperor received the reports with growing rage. "How is this happening? How are they destroying our supplies? Our fleet is the largest ever assembled." "The humans are not fighting our fleet," General explained. "They are fighting everything around it. Our fleet needs supplies. The supplies need protection. We cannot protect everything." "Then choose. Protect the most important targets." "Which targets, my emperor?" "Food production. Without food, our soldiers starve. Fuel stations. Without fuel, our ships cannot move. Communication relays. Without communication, we cannot coordinate." "All of them, protect all of them." "We cannot, my emperor. To protect everything, we must spread our fleet across the empire. And if we spread out, the humans will attack us in small pieces." Finished. He understood now. The humans had turned his greatest strength into a weakness. His massive fleet needed massive supplies. Those supplies were spread across his empire. He could not protect them all. It was a trap he had walked into without even knowing. On the human flagship, Admiral watched the reports come in. Supply lines cut, production facilities destroyed. The fleet was slowly dying. "How long can they last?" he asked. "At current consumption rates, they have 3 weeks of fuel, 2 weeks of food if they ration carefully," an analyst reported. "Then in 2 weeks they will have to choose, stay together and starve, or spread out and face us." "What do we do then, Admiral?" "We wait, and when they spread out, we hunt them down." The waiting was hard. The human soldiers were angry. They wanted to fight. They wanted revenge for Seven, but knew that patience was a weapon too. In the fleet, things grew desperate. Food was rationed. Soldiers grew weak. Fuel was running low. Ships were powered down to save energy. "We must do something," General urged the Emperor. "The soldiers are losing hope. They hear about the human attacks. They hear about supplies being destroyed. They are beginning to believe we cannot win." "Then we attack now," decided. "We find the human fleet and destroy them before we run out of supplies." But my emperor, if we attack and fail, then we fail, but I will not sit here and watch my empire die slowly. Send the fleet, find the humans, end this. The massive fleet began to move, but they were already weakened. Ships had been powered down for days. Soldiers had been on half rations. They were not at full strength. Admiral received word that the fleet was moving. They are coming for us, he said, desperate and angry. Perfect. Perfect, asked. They still have thousands of ships. Ships without fuel, soldiers without food, commanders without coordination because we destroyed their communication relays. They are a wounded beast, lashing out blindly. We just need to stay out of reach and keep hitting them until they fall. The human fleet scattered. They refused to engage in a direct battle. Instead, they attacked the edges of the formation. They targeted ships that fell behind. They struck at vulnerable points and retreated before they could respond. It was not glorious. It was not honorable. It was effective. Day after day, the fleet shrank. Ships ran out of fuel and were abandoned. Soldiers ran out of food and grew too weak to fight. Commanders could not communicate because their relays had been destroyed. The great fleet of 5,000 ships became 4,000, then 3,000, then 2,000. Enough, Emperor screamed. Turn back, return to the... But turning back was not easy. Many ships did not have enough fuel. They were left behind, captured by human strike teams. When the fleet finally reached home, only 1,500 ships remained. 10 million soldiers had become 4 million. The greatest military force in their history had been reduced to a shadow. And the humans were still coming. Lieutenant led a strike team to the edge of the system. She looked at the planet through her. Billions of lived there. Families, children, innocent people. That is their home, said quietly. What do we do now? We give them a choice, said. The same choice they never gave the people of Seven. She sent a message to the planet. It was broadcast on every channel. Every with a screen saw her face. People of the Empire, I am Lieutenant of the United Earth Defense Force. Your government attacked our colony without warning. They killed 3,000 innocent people. Men, women, and children burned alive while they begged for mercy. Her voice was steady. We have destroyed your fleet. We have cut your supply lines. We could destroy your planet. We have the weapons. We have the anger, but we are not like you. We do not kill innocent people. She paused. We want justice. We want the ones responsible for the attack on Seven to answer for their crimes. Give them to us and this war ends. Refuse and we will take everything else from you. Your stations, your colonies, your military, everything. Until there is nothing left except you're surrounded by human ships with nowhere to run. She ended the message. The people listened. They looked at each other. They looked at their government. They thought about everything they had lost. And they made a choice. That night, Emperor was arrested by his own guards. General and the other commanders who had ordered the attack on Seven were taken into custody. The people had decided. They wanted to live. They wanted peace. They were willing to sacrifice their leaders to get it. Admiral received word of the arrests. They are offering us the ones responsible, reported. The Emperor himself, the generals, everyone who ordered the attack. Nodded. Then we will accept, but this is not over yet. They must understand. They must never forget. What do you mean? Killing the leaders is not enough. The entire culture believed it was acceptable to slaughter innocent people. They called us prey. They thought they could murder us without consequences. We need to change that belief. Forever. How? Looked at the stars. By making them remember, every year, every generation, they will remember the humans. They will remember what happened when they hurt us, and they will be afraid to ever do it again. The hunt was almost over. The predator had caught its prey, but the lesson was only beginning. The surrender ceremony took place on neutral ground, a space station in unclaimed territory, far from both Earth and the Representatives from dozens of alien species came to watch. They wanted to see what would happen when the mighty bowed to the weak humans. Admiral arrived first. He wore his dress uniform with all his medals. Behind him stood Lieutenant and a dozen other officers. They had fought hard to reach this moment. They had lost friends, family, and ships. Now they would see justice done. Emperor arrived in chains. His 4 arms were bound. His head was bowed. Behind him walked General and the other commanders who had ordered the attack on 7. They were all in chains. Their own people had given them up. The 2 groups faced each other across a wide room. Thousands of aliens watched from the galleries above. Cameras broadcast the event to billions more across the galaxy. Admiral was also there, brought from custody. He was the one who had commanded the fleet that destroyed 7. He was the one who had ordered the final blast that killed Captain and the survivors. Stepped forward, he looked at the chained leaders. He felt the anger inside him, the desire for revenge. He could order their deaths right now. He could watch them suffer the way the colonists had suffered. But that was not why he was here. Emperor said, his voice was calm. You are the leader of your people. You are responsible for their actions. The attack on the human colony 7 happened under your command. Raised his head. Even in chains, he tried to look proud. I am the Emperor. I do not apologize. I do not beg. I am not asking for an apology. I am asking for understanding. Gestured to a screen on the wall. Images appeared. The colony of 7 before the attack. Beautiful homes, green fields, children playing near the river. Then the attack. Fire, smoke, bodies. The colony reduced to ash. 3,000 people lived there, said. They were farmers, teachers, doctors, families. They had done nothing to you. They were not soldiers. They were not threats. They were innocent people building a new life on a distant world. He pointed at Admiral. This one destroyed them. He killed them all because he thought they were weak. He thought they were prey. He thought there would be no consequences. Tried to speak. They were weak. They had no weapons, no defenses. They were inferior. 12 of those inferior people killed 200 of your soldiers, said quietly. Captain and her crew fought until their last breath. They sent a message to Earth. That message brought us here. He looked at the galleries, at the thousands of aliens watching. Let me tell you about humans. We evolved on a dangerous planet. Everything wanted to kill us. The weather, the animals, even the plants. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. By every measure, we should have gone extinct. He paused. But we did not. We survived because we refused to give up. We survived because when something threatened us, we did not run. We fought. We learned. We adapted. And eventually, we became the most successful predators on our planet. Every creature that hunted us is now extinct. We remain. He turned back to. You saw us and thought we were easy targets. You saw our soft skin and our small size and assumed we were weak. You made the same mistake that 1,000 species made on Earth, and like those species, you have learned the truth. We are not weak. We are patient. We are persistent. And when someone hurts our family, we are unforgiving. His proud expression cracked slightly. For the first time, he looked uncertain. What do you want? Asked. Revenge, blood, territory. I want a lesson, said. A lesson that your people will never forget. A lesson that every species in this galaxy will remember. He walked to a table where a document waited. This is the treaty of. By signing it, you admit that the attack on 7 was a crime. You agree to pay compensation to the families of the victims. You agree to build a memorial on the site of the colony. And you agree to teach your children about what happened here. Teach them what? The truth. That the Empire attacked innocent humans and paid the price. That the humans are not prey. That attacking humanity means war with a species that will never stop, never surrender, and never forget. He placed a pen on the document. You called us the weakest species in the galaxy. You were wrong. Sign this treaty and your empire survives. refuse, and we will show you exactly how wrong you were." The room was silent. Everyone waited, looked at the document. He looked at his chained commanders. He looked at the images of dead colonists still showing on the screen. Then slowly, he picked up the pen and signed. A wave of murmurs went through the watching crowd. The mighty empire, conquerors of 100 worlds, had surrendered to the soft-skinned humans. Admiral was taken away to face trial. He would spend the rest of his life in prison. General and the other commanders received similar sentences. Emperor was allowed to return to his people, but his power was broken. He would spend his remaining years as a reminder of what happened when they made enemies of humanity. After the ceremony, Lieutenant found Admiral standing alone at a window. He was looking at the stars. "We did it, sir," she said. "We won." "Did we?" asked. "We lost so many. The soldiers who died in battle, the colonists on 7. Captain, are we really winners?" Justice was done. That is what they wanted. That is what asked for in her final message. Nodded slowly. "I suppose you are right, but I cannot help thinking about what we became during this war. We were ruthless. We destroyed their supplies and watched them starve. We refused to fight fair. We used their fears against them. We did what we had to do." Yes, and that is what worries me. We have proven that humans can be the most dangerous species in the galaxy. What happens when we use that power against each other again? Did not have an answer. She stood beside him in silence. Far away on the ruins of 7, construction had begun. A memorial was being built on the site of the destroyed colony, a wall of black stone with 3,000 names carved into it. At the center, a statue of Captain, standing tall, looking at the sky. The first visitors to the memorial were human, families of the victims, friends who had lost loved ones. They came to cry, to remember, to say goodbye. But soon others came too, aliens from across the galaxy. They came to see the place where everything changed, the place where a mighty empire fell because they made one mistake. They attacked humanity. A young alien child asked his parent, "Why did they attack this place?" "Because they thought the humans were weak," the parent answered. Were they weak? No, they were the strongest species anyone had ever seen, not because of muscles or claws, but because of what was inside them, their hearts, their will, their love for their families. The child looked at the statue of Captain. "She looks brave." She was. She and 12 others fought 200 enemies and won. Then she sent a message home. That message brought the human fleet here. That message ended an empire. What did the message say? The parent was quiet for a moment. Then they pointed at words carved at the base of the statue, words from Captain's final transmission. "Please remember us, please remember what they did, and please make them pay." The humans remembered, the child said. Yes, humans always remember. Years passed. The war became history. The history became legend. They rebuilt their civilization, but they were never the same. They taught their children about the humans. They warned them never to attack Earth's people, never to hurt their colonies, never to harm their families. Other species learned the lesson too. The galaxy became more peaceful because everyone remembered what happened when they made enemies of humanity. Admiral retired to a quiet farm on Earth. He spent his days growing vegetables and watching the sunset. Sometimes he thought about the war. Sometimes he remembered the friends he lost. One day a young officer came to visit him. It was, now an admiral herself. "The galaxy is stable," she reported. "No species has attacked human territory in 20 years. The threat of what we can do is enough to keep the peace." Smiled. Then it was worth it. All the pain, all the loss. If it means our children can grow up in peace, it was worth it. Some people say we were too harsh, that we became monsters to defeat the. Maybe we did, but monsters protect their families. Monsters defend their homes. If being a monster means no more sevens, then I am proud to be a monster. sat with him and watched the sunset. They did not talk about war anymore. They talked about life, about family, about hope for the future. In the sky above them, human ships patrolled the borders of Earth's territory. They were always watching, always ready, because humans had learned their own lesson from this war. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of species that would take what they wanted and destroy anyone too weak to stop them. The only protection was strength, not the strength of muscles or weapons, but the strength of will, the strength to fight when fighting seemed impossible, the strength to keep going when everything said to give up. That was humanity's gift, their curse, their power. And as long as humans existed, that power would protect their children, their colonies, their future. On the memorial wall at 7, the final line read, "They called us the weakest species in the galaxy. They were wrong. We are humanity, and we will never stop." The stars continued to shine. The galaxy continued to turn. And somewhere in the darkness, the children of Earth looked up at the night sky, knowing they were safe. Because their ancestors had taught the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Never hurt humanity's family, or face the consequences. Forever,